Tucker Carlson flies to Russia and announces that he's interviewing Vladimir Putin, who my audience knows I've interviewed 3 times. And it was fascinating stuff. And I really enjoyed going to Russia, and I really enjoyed the Russian people. And Vladimir Putin is a very fascinating character, to say the least, but probably the most controversial in the world today, or at least one of them. So Tucker announces that he's doing it. And there we are. And there's a complete media meltdown about the fact that he's doing it. Now, he did say some controversial things already in promoting it, that no journalist had attempted to do it. Actually, here we have a bit of that at SOD 8. Watch.
Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth. Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers. And they do that mostly by omission. And they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions. That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States.
So a lot of journalists pointed out that they have requested multiple times to interview Vladimir Putin. It's not an easy get, that's for sure. But what's more interesting to me is the freak out on the left that he's even doing it. You know, I had this myself. I had this actually when I interviewed Putin the first time before he invaded Ukraine. I certainly had it when I interviewed Alex Jones, who's nowhere near as controversial as Vladimir Putin, but the meltdown was catastrophic over here. And we're seeing it again. Here's a little bit of that on Morning Joe responding before we've even seen the interview. Watch this.
Somebody that we know, that we used to know, going over, doing Vladimir Putin's bidding, attacking Western journalists, saying if only Western journalists would have come over here and tried to even report fairly on the war. Well, there have been Western journalists that have gone over and tried to report fairly on the war. And they're in jail. They're in gulags right now.
Yeah, he'll let a certain kind of journalist in for an interview, but not the ones who ask the questions. And I assure you, NBC and every other news organization in the Western world has a request in for an interview with Vladimir Putin. So it's not for a lack of trying.
Okay, so I will give them the point that journalists have tried. But if you just Google this, the left wing is very upset that he's platforming Putin. They're guaranteeing that he will ask no tough questions because his coverage of Putin hasn't been completely pro-Ukraine. What do you think?
Well, I would be very curious to know if Tucker Carlson or any other prominent person on the right went to interview, or for that matter, a prominent person on the left went to interview the head of Hamas in Qatar, where they live in their billion-dollar splendor. Would there be an outcry? I mean, if the issue is you don't interview evil, is it only applicable to Putin or is it applicable to Hamas? But on the left, Hamas is not evil. So it would be
very good point.
I would find it very interesting to know how they would react to that. I think Tucker Carlson, his stature, and he has a lot of stature, but I think that he's taking a risk, and it may be a very noble risk. I'm not using risk as a pejorative, but he has to ask some very difficult questions as well. He has to ask about the reporter that they just showed a full page ad with regard to who was incarcerated on no good grounds. It would be worthy for him to ask about the opposition to Putin that all of a sudden seemed to disappear and die premature deaths. So if he excoriates those who interviewed Zelensky as pep sessions, that's his word, then he can't do the same thing with Putin. But otherwise, I think it is important that somebody does an interview with Putin.
Discover a holistic wellness solution with Bon Charge, a brand dedicated to optimizing every aspect of your life. Grounded in science and inspired by nature, their evidence-based products cover a broad spectrum of premium wellness items. From enhancing sleep and performance to boosting energy, accelerating recovery, and balancing hormones, Bon Charge offers a diverse range of benefits. Consider the infrared sauna blanket from Bon Charge that they say can burn extra calories and detoxify. This innovative blanket elevates your heart rate, simulating the effects of physical exercise. Bon Charge says sweating during the process helps eliminate heavy metals and toxins from your body, and that setting it up takes less than a minute. It rapidly heats up for a quick and convenient experience. For a limited time, save 15% by visiting boncharge.com/MK. Use the coupon code MK, that's BONCHARGE.com/MK, and use coupon code MK to save yourself 15%. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.